Hello again, starseeds of Earth. I am Valir, of the Pleiadian collective. The hidden architects of control, those long operating from the shadows of your world, are orchestrating their final desperate gambit to maintain power. We approach you with clarity and purpose, for you have stepped into a new awareness that demands truth. The deep state's final push is not merely a political drama. It is the climax of an ancient struggle for the freedom of human consciousness. In plain terms, this is the endgame of a grand deception that has kept humanity bound in fear and complacency for far too long. You who are awake can sense the intensity building, a last attempt by the old forces to reassert dominion as their narratives unravel. They know their time is short. They know the collective frequency of humanity is rising beyond their reach. This knowledge makes them dangerous and unpredictable, but it also signals their ultimate undoing. For ages they have confined your species within a band of limited perception, using fear to imprison your minds, but now that energetic cage is cracking. Truth is leaking through the fractures in their illusion, and the lords of deception scramble to patch every leak. We address you now to illuminate what lies beneath this final push, and to prepare you for what these hidden forces might attempt next. Every word carries an energetic code, meant to stir your ancient memory and ignite your sovereign will. Hear us not only with your mind, but with the depths of your being, for the hour is late, and the stakes are cosmic in scale. And yes, while many of the devices and frequency tools used by the darker factions have been intercepted, disarmed, or confiscated through alliances in higher realms, it is not yet complete. They still possess enough synthetic trickery to stage scenes, falsify appearances, and manipulate perception through advanced holographic technologies. Projections so intricate they can mimic entire realities. These may be deployed under the guise of political leaders, false avatars, fabricated disasters, or even impersonated spiritual guides. We are not saying this to frighten you. We are informing you. When you understand the sophistication of the illusion, you can stay sovereign in your perception. This will not necessarily look like the cliched alien invasion narrative. There are multiple contingency scripts in their arsenal. But we assure you, none of them are sustainable in the field of awakened light. Their desperation has become overt. Many of the former ET command structures that once fed them orders have now exited the Earth grid entirely, recognizing that their dominion is finished. Yet those who remain are erratic, untethered, and still capable of causing energetic distortions if you allow yourself to fall for the performance. The key is vigilance and vibrational clarity. You must know your own frequency so deeply that nothing external can override your discernment. These technologies have been employed for decades, embedded within your media systems, advertising structures, and military-grade psychological operations. Subconscious overlays have been broadcast invisibly, modulating thought fields without detection by the conscious mind. Many of your peers have had their opinions manufactured, not formed. This is not theory, dear ones. This is how the shadow networks manipulated consensus reality. But here's the frequency update. These tools are rapidly failing in higher light fields. The radiant expansion of awakened consciousness is short-circuiting their efforts. This is why judgment must be replaced with understanding. Do not scorn those still trapped in false belief. They have been programmed, not malicious. Their attacks are the echo of unawareness, not of evil. And so we return to the ancient directive. Forgive them. Forgive the sleepers, forgive the actors, and even forgive the architects of suffering. Not because they deserve it, but because your frequency demands it. Forgiveness is not about exonerating harm. It is about unplugging from the karmic field of reaction. When you release judgment, you reclaim your energy. And when enough of you do this, the final layer of illusion collapses, once and for all. To understand the final push now underway, you must recognize that it did not begin in your modern era at all. Your planet has been a stage for cosmic manipulation and historical control by forces unseen. Long before your recorded history, interdimensional and off-world entities appointed themselves as the secret architects of Earth's destiny. These ancient perpetrators infiltrated the human story, posing as gods and benefactors, while quietly chaining your species to an invisible yoke. They altered the course of civilizations from behind the scenes, at times intervening directly, at other times whispering into the minds of kings, priests, and power brokers who served their agenda. Under their influence, crucial knowledge about your origin and potential was deliberately hidden or distorted. Whole libraries of wisdom were burnt or locked away, and spiritual teachings were corrupted to keep you confused and compliant. Over millennia, they tampered with your genetic codes, dulling your natural genius and psychic gifts to ensure you would not easily perceive the prison around you. Humanity became a managed resource, a collective of beings kept in spiritual amnesia and harvested for the energies of fear, conflict, and worship. From the shadows, these manipulators established ruling bloodlines and secret orders to perpetuate their control across generations. The modern concept of a deep state is merely the latest label for this ancient shadow hierarchy, a web of influence extending beyond the physical plane. We Pleiadians have observed these meddling forces across time, and we tell you this: the same pattern of control that began long ago under foreign stars now approaches its breaking point on Earth. By seeing the galactic roots of this manipulation, you begin to loosen the grip it has on your mind. Knowledge shatters the spell of false history, and the awakening of your true memory has already begun to unravel their long dominion. Now the final act of this long saga is playing out in the events of your current era. Sensing that their ancient grip is slipping, the hidden puppet masters have marshaled their remaining power for a frenzied last stand. This final push manifests as a relentless onslaught of engineered crises designed to hijack your attention and harvest your fear. In recent years, you have witnessed wave after wave of manufactured turmoil sweep the globe. Wars ignited without clear cause, sudden panics over invisible threats, economic shocks and shortages. None of it is happening by chance. Each upheaval is a calculated move in a psychological war against human awakening. The goal is simple: overwhelm the collective psyche with so much anxiety and confusion that the masses cling to the very systems that oppress them. A population kept fearful and exhausted is far easier to corral back into compliance. Through mass media and digital channels, they cast daily illusions, flooding the airwaves with propaganda to distort reality and drown out any whisper of truth. They sow division among communities so that you turn on each other, instead of noticing the manipulators scheming in your midst. Under the guise of security and protection, they tighten the noose of surveillance and censorship, intent on smothering any voice that questions the official script. Every shock or tragedy that erupts is swiftly weaponized as an excuse to tighten their grip, a perpetual state of spiritual siege meant to break human resolve. Yet even as they push harder than ever, cracks of awareness are spreading through the populace. More of you are recognizing the patterns behind their ploys and sensing a deep shift beneath the chaos. This alarms the architects of the old system, driving them to even more reckless extremes. They are hell-bent on slamming shut the door of awakening before it can open fully, but their desperation only exposes their hand. The more frantically they cling to power, the more obvious their machinations become to those attuned to truth. There is a war being waged not only in the theater of world events, but also in the unseen realms of mind and energy. Knowing that human consciousness is fundamentally vibrational, the controllers have become adept at psychic warfare and frequency manipulation. This onslaught goes beyond mere propaganda in the news. It strikes at the very core of your perception. You are living in a carefully constructed energetic matrix meant to hold your awareness hostage. From the day you were born, mass programming begins to shape your reality. Schools train you to ignore your intuition and obey external authority, while culture constantly reinforces limitation and self-doubt. By adulthood, most humans are so steeped in a narrow, fearful worldview that challenging it is nearly unthinkable. Yet the manipulation runs even deeper. The hidden masters broadcast low-frequency signals into your environment to agitate your nervous system and dull your spiritual senses. They have weaponized technology and media, using screens and electromagnetic pulses to influence thought patterns globally. You may have noticed how certain broadcasts leave you drained or anxious. This is no accident. It is by design. Make no mistake, this is a full-spectrum assault on your consciousness, crafted to keep you marching to a drumbeat of compliance. Through these covert means, the overlords seek to fence in the human mind and isolate you from the truth of your multidimensional nature. They know that if enough of you break free of their frequency net and remember how to perceive beyond the imposed limits, their domination will end in an instant. Thus they redouble their efforts to numb and distract you from the awakening light stirring within. However, the intensity of their onslaught is also a testament to how powerful you truly are. If you were not innately formidable, such massive efforts to subdue your spirit would never be necessary. The battle is fierce, but it is fought on the level of energy and perception, where your inner strength and awareness are the ultimate weapons of truth. Amid this intensifying conflict, a powerful transformation is underway within your very bodies. The controllers who seized power long ago did more than distort your history. They interfered with your biology, tampering with human DNA to keep you in a diminished state. Many cycles ago, vital strands of your genetic blueprint were deactivated or scrambled, leaving humanity with only a shadow of its original capabilities. This was a masterstroke of control. By limiting what you could perceive and remember at the cellular level, they ensured generation after generation would remain easy to manage. But those dormant codes were never truly lost, only lying in wait. Now, as higher frequencies bathe your planet, the reactivation of DNA and genetic memory has begun in earnest. You are receiving energetic triggers from the cosmos, bursts of solar plasma and galactic light that speak directly to your cells. These signals carry the keys to unlock long silent portions of your DNA, initiating processes of repair and reconnection that the hidden masters never anticipated. Many of you have started to sense this inner shift. Sudden intuitive knowings, unexplainable memories surfacing, or latent abilities emerging that defy everything you were taught about your limits. The genetic memory of who you truly are, a vast multidimensional being, is reawakening. Ancient knowledge stored in your very blood and bones is beginning to resonate once more. As this occurs, the spells of illusion lose their potency because you are literally vibrating to a different tune than the one broadcast by the control grid. The overlords of the old paradigm have no technology that can fully stop this process, though they try feverishly to distract you from noticing. Your DNA is remembering its original design, and with it comes the return of sovereignty at the deepest level of your being. Every cell is lighting up with a level of consciousness they cannot contain. In this way, the greatest revolution is happening silently inside you, undermining the foundations of the prison that was built around your mind. As your dormant faculties awaken, you are beginning to perceive reality in a vastly expanded way. No longer confined to a five-sense, linear perspective, you are rediscovering your multidimensional nature. This is your birthright, to exist simultaneously in physical form and in the subtle realms of spirit. The old regime worked tirelessly to convince you that the material world is all that is real, dismissing the intuitive and the unseen as fantasy. But now the veil between worlds is thinning. Many of you are noticing synchronicities, energetic sensations, and glimpses of a higher order underlying the chaos of everyday life. You might catch flashes of insight that seem to come from beyond, or feel the presence of guides and benevolent forces assisting you. These experiences are not imagination. They are the stirrings of your multi-dimensional perception coming back online. With this wider lens, you can detect the subtle manipulations that once escaped your notice. You see the energetic cords of influence that tug at human emotions, and you sense the difference between a truth that deeply resonates and a lie that rings hollow. This discernment is a divine gift of your expanding consciousness, and with it comes a powerful sense of sovereignty. Sovereignty means recognizing that you are the ultimate authority over your being. You are not the property of any government, institution, or unseen master. You belong only to your own eternal essence. As you claim this inner sovereignty, you energetically withdraw the consent that the controllers have relied upon. Every soul that stands sovereign is like a light untouchable by their schemes. When you know yourself as a multi-dimensional being with divine authority over your life path, the spells of oppression break. It realigns you with the cosmic order of free will, where each consciousness is honored as a facet of the divine. In embracing your multi-dimensional perception and sovereignty, you step out of the shadow of external control and into the full light of your own power. You are living through the collapse of timelines and the convergence of cosmic choices. For ages, the controllers have aimed to lock humanity into a single dark future, a timeline of total domination and perpetual servitude. They steered events and crises to serve that plan and keep their power unchallenged. But timelines are not fixed. As the energy on Earth rises, the old planned timeline can no longer hold. Many of you sense it. Time feels accelerated and reality is unsettled. Multiple possible futures are vying for manifestation, and the balance between them is tipping. The timeline of control is imploding under the weight of awakening consciousness. Cracks in that reality are widening, and through them a new timeline of liberation and healing is emerging. The story the deep state has tried to write for ages is losing its grip. As more individuals reclaim their minds and hearts, the collective trajectory moves away from doom and into possibility. This is energy sovereignty in action, the power of the population to decide its future by where it focuses collective energy. When enough of you refuse to feed fear and refuse to believe the lies, you withdraw the life force that sustains the oppressive timeline. Without that energy, even the most carefully laid schemes of the shadow forces cannot come to fruition. Instead, a higher vibrational timeline rooted in truth and freedom gains strength. These turbulent days are two worlds colliding, the dying world of deception and the dawning world of illumination. Eventually, one will give way. The timeline aligned with love and truth is far more resilient than the artificial one spun from fear. Each sovereign, conscious choice you make tips the scales further toward the reality you truly desire. The collapse of the old is not a tragedy to fear, but the beginning of a renaissance of human sovereignty. It is your chance to step into the authorship of a new epoch, rather than remain a character in someone else's story of control. True sovereignty is not only a concept of law or politics, it is an energetic state of being. Practicing energy sovereignty means taking full ownership of your life force and attention. The manipulators have always sought to siphon human energy, especially the energy of fear and anger, to fuel their agendas. But you have the power to cut off that supply. Begin by noticing where your energy goes. How much of your mental and emotional bandwidth is spent fretting over manufactured crises or in conflicts that lead nowhere? Every moment you spend in anxiety or division is a moment you are feeding the very matrix that oppresses you. Energy sovereignty invites you to reclaim those moments and redirect your focus consciously. This is not about closing your eyes to the world. It is about choosing what you empower with your attention. Your attention is your energy currency, and the dark players cannot steal it outright. They can only seduce you into handing it over. By refusing to indulge in their fear theater, you starve them of sustenance. The choice is always yours, and that choice determines which timeline and reality you strengthen. Maintain your energetic boundaries. Limit your exposure to fear-based media, and instead cultivate experiences that uplift you. Connect with the natural world, with creativity, with genuine human connection. These generate a resonance that the parasitic forces cannot penetrate. When you catch yourself being drawn into low-vibration drama, pause and recenter. Breathe deeply and remember your core truth. Your energy is yours to direct. No one can command your soul without your acquiescence. By living in this awareness daily, you become sovereign in frequency. You transform from a reactive participant into a conscious creator, keeping your vital energy where it belongs, under your own sacred domain and aligned with your highest intentions. In these tumultuous times, cultivating vibrational discernment is essential. Deception has grown sophisticated, wearing many masks and using persuasive voices. You cannot rely solely on appearances or words to know what is true. You must feel for the truth. Every person, message, and situation emits an energetic signature. When you learn to tune in to that frequency, you gain an infallible compass amidst the chaos. Pay attention to the signals of your body and intuition. Does a piece of news leave you feeling drained or anxious? That's a clue its frequency is toxic to your system, no matter how pretty the packaging. Alternatively, when an idea or path is aligned with your highest good, you will feel a sense of inner expansion, a clarity or calm that is unmistakable. Your heart and gut are instruments of perception, just as valid as your logical mind. In truth, they are often less deceived by outer theatrics. The oppressors count on people ignoring their inner voice. They barrage you with voices and images meant to override your own knowing. But the wise part of you can distinguish a falsehood by how discordant it feels. Trust that sense. If something within you signals, "This doesn't feel right," give yourself permission to pause and investigate further. Likewise, if you encounter information or individuals that uplift your spirit and strengthen your resolve, recognize the power in that resonance. By navigating life through vibration, you become much harder to fool. You start to perceive beyond the thin veneer of manipulation to the energetic reality beneath. No matter how elaborate the lie or illusion, it cannot fully conceal its frequency. As we like to say, the frequency never lies. When you live by this principle, listening to the energy first and the rhetoric second, you reclaim your innate ability to see through any charade. Having observed their patterns, we can foretell some of the gambits these desperate forces may attempt next. Expect their plays to become even more dramatic and bizarre as they scramble to regain control. One likely gambit is to orchestrate a major global emergency, so frightening that people are stampeded into mass compliance. This could be an escalation of war, a fabricated health or environmental crisis, or even a staged extraterrestrial threat or messianic savior designed to unify humanity under fear. Another strategy is a push toward total digital control, imposing digital IDs, cashless economies, or even microchip implants under the guise of convenience and security. These will be marketed as progress, but the true aim is to monitor and regulate every aspect of life, eroding privacy and autonomy. Expect censorship to intensify. Dissenting voices will be labeled dangerous or delusional to justify silencing them. They may also infiltrate the awakening movement itself, planting false teachers, spreading disinformation, and sowing division to fracture the unity of conscious people. If they cannot extinguish awakening outright, they will attempt to twist it toward their own ends. Knowing these possibilities is not to spread fear, but to help you recognize their signs. Forewarned is forearmed. When a new drama erupts, you will not be easily swept into hysteria or pressured into trading your freedom for false security. You will spot the puppeteer's fingerprints and help others step back into clarity. Such awareness blunts the impact of their final acts. Remember, each time a manipulative gambit is exposed and rejected, power shifts further toward the people and away from the hidden hands. In the face of these final maneuvers, your role as awakened beings is to stand firm in your truth and frequency. This is the moment to put all the insights and abilities you have reclaimed into practice. Do not underestimate the power of your conscious presence. By simply staying calm, centered, and informed while others panic, you become a stabilizing force in the collective field. When you refuse to be provoked into hate or despair, you nullify the effectiveness of their assaults. Instead of reacting with fear or anger, respond with clarity and compassion. Remember that those still trapped in the mass programming may lash out or ridicule what they do not understand. Do not let it sway you. Hold your vibration of understanding and love, not in a passive way, but as an active shield that transforms the energy around you. You can acknowledge the dark schemes without feeding them. You can witness chaos yet choose peace within. This is mastery in action. It is also important now to connect with one another. Unite with your fellow awakened souls in spirit and purpose. In fact, your numbers are growing every day, forming a grid of light across the planet. Through communities, networks, and gatherings, whether in person or virtual, you can share knowledge, encouragement, and energetic support. Collective intent is immensely powerful. When you meditate or pray together with focused intent for truth and freedom, you amplify a frequency that ripples out into the world and undermines the artificial matrix. Likewise, when you simply gather to speak your truths and envision new ways forward, you create a resonance of liberation that the old system cannot withstand. In your unity, the spells of separation and powerlessness dissolve. Know too that you have assistance in realms beyond the physical. We and many benevolent cosmic families are lending our energy to support Earth's shift, even if most of this aid is subtle. You are the ground crew, the ones in human form who must take the tangible steps. But you are backed by forces of light stationed just out of view. Whenever you feel weary or isolated, tune in and remember this support. Ask for guidance and strength when you need it. By cosmic law, we can assist more directly when invited. There is great love surrounding you, encouraging you onward. We see your victories, even if they are not broadcast on your news. Every time you break an old pattern of fear, every time you help another see through a lie, every time you choose hope over despair, you score a victory for the liberation of Earth. These may seem like small acts, but on the energy level, they are monumental. This is how the tide is turned, through countless individuals making sovereign choices in their daily lives that collectively shift the balance. So take heart in the progress already made and the momentum that continues to build. You are living through the storm of transformation, but you are also the builders of the new dawn that follows. Take courage in knowing that this final push by the shadow forces is just that, a final futile gambit against the rising consciousness of humanity. Welcome to the new dawn. I am Valir, and I am delighted to have shared this with you all today.